I'm Lise Leblanc, therapist, author, and life coach, and today's video is part 2 of the strange and selfish texting habits of narcissists, mostly in the context of a romantic relationship, but some of these toxic texting habits can happen in other types of relationships as well. Also, please note that if you engage in some of these habits, it doesn't necessarily mean you have narcissistic personality disorder. But if you are often texting this way, I would suggest that you look into this as a possibility. At the end of this video, I will talk specifically about the types of texts you will get when a narcissist is strategically trying to re-engage you. Okay, so let's jump in with number 8, which is short or unrelated responses. So you send a relatively long message to your partner that contains information and questions, and they respond with "K" or "Fine," or with a response that's totally unrelated to what you asked. Or maybe you're having a small disagreement by text and they just respond with a thumbs up. First, you should know that narcissists only read your full texts in the beginning of the relationship when they are getting high on your validation. After that, they only skim your texts quickly and only respond to the parts that matter to them or that trigger them. The rest is completely dismissed. Their point is to invalidate you and let you know that they will decide what is important and what is worthy of responding to. Number 9 is critical texts. Let's say you did the dishes before heading out to work. Then you get a text putting you down for the way you did the dishes. So for example, they text you saying, if you're going to leave dirty spots on the dishes, what's the point of doing them? The fact that I even have to tell you this makes me feel like I'm dealing with a 2-year-old. So not only are they complaining about how incompetent you are at doing dishes, but they're taking it a step further by saying you're basically incompetent as a person. Number 10 is lashing out texts. So you send a nice long text and lo and behold, something triggers them and they send you a barrage of hostile, raging texts filled with insults, accusations, threats aimed at intimidating or punishing you for whatever you said to offend them. Even if your text was 99% positive, if there was any expectation or suggestion that the narcissist might be responsible for anything, then they will respond only to that one small part of your text that triggered them without any consideration for the rest of the message. Then you may spend hours and hours going back and forth trying to defend, explain, apologize, or get back to the point. But they'll have none of it. It's no longer about the main thing. Now it's about this other thing. Typically, they're doing this because they are so easily slighted and can't take any accountability whatsoever. So instead of acting like a reasonable person, they go off on you in vicious and dramatic ways. There will be lots of caps to emphasize and dramatize their anger. They go at you by text like a pit bull until you accept all of the blame. Once you do, they feel good and can relax. So you might find that soon after a huge nasty text exchange, they're completely fine and acting as though nothing happened. Number 11 is always texting to find out where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. Narcissists will often insist that you check in with them several times a day, wanting to know where you are, what you're doing, who you're doing it with. They'll say that they're just curious or that it's because they care. And of course, there are times when this is entirely appropriate and reasonable. However, when it comes to a narcissist, it's really about control. So let's say you were in a work meeting for an hour, and when you finish the meeting, you check your phone and you see that you have 15 text messages and some missed calls. For a narcissist, this is likely not indicative of an emergency, but rather that they are demanding your immediate attention. Like, how dare you not prioritize them over everyone and everything else? You have work deadlines or meetings? Who cares? Not them. At least not when they want something. And yet they expect you to be waiting by the phone at all times, checking in with them constantly, always available to cater to their need for attention, admiration, and validation. The overload of text is meant to send a message. Pay attention to me now, and I won't stop until you do. Number 12 is baiting you into arguments and fights. The narcissist may randomly send you a text about something they know will trigger you. For example, if you have a certain political belief, let's say, they may send you an article, a text message saying something against those particular beliefs. Or they may text you accusing you of some random thing that happened a long time ago or that didn't even happen at all. If they know you care about someone, they'll send a text demeaning that person or claiming that person said something negative about you. The goal is simple. They want to aggravate you, spark a negative emotional reaction, and start an argument. It's intentional, often because they are feeling bad and want you to feel bad too. When you engage in this, it confirms that they still have control over your emotions. And once you feel really, really bad, it makes them feel better. And if you don't take the bait, you will find the narcissist getting very frustrated, and they will increase their efforts and, change their tactics to get that reaction out of you. Number 13 is faking crises. People with narcissistic personality disorder want to keep you in a state of crisis. So you will notice that as the relationship goes on, you start to become hypervigilant, and you may find yourself getting very, very anxious, never knowing where the next problem or crisis is coming from. For example, they might text you something like, I'm in the hospital right now. And of course, you worry and ask if they're okay. Then they stop answering. So you're worried, you try to reach them, and you get nothing. Your texts and calls are left unanswered for hours. Later, you find out that they went for routine blood work or something minor. You ask them, why didn't you answer my text? I was really worried about you. And they gaslight you with something like, you're always worrying for nothing. I don't see why you always need to be keeping tabs on me. Like, you don't need to know my every move. You have control issues. Or if you don't spend the day trying to reach them, then it's, you don't care about me. You knew I was at the hospital and you didn't even try to reach me. But the reality is they just like knowing that you're in a state of anxiety, you're on edge, and they have all of your attention and they have power over your emotions. Now, sometimes the narcissist is concocting real crisis situations. In the case of a covert narcissist, you will be amazed at how many conflicts and chaos and crises can surround them. As soon as one problem is solved, there's another one right behind it. They keep themselves in victim mode, and they need to have people engaged in saving and rescuing them. Number 14, which is a very common type of text you will receive from a covert narcissist, is the guilt-tripping and passive-aggressive texts. So this is when their criticism and contempt is delivered as a shit sandwich. So perfectly crafted that if someone else read it, they might not even pick up on the crap in the middle. This text typically has a virtuous opening and closing line, with the middle part that's intended to induce guilt or express anger passively. So this might be something like, I'm always here for you and want the best for you. I just don't know that I can count on you to do the same for me. It's like you don't even care about me anymore. I just wish I had someone who truly understood and was there to support me. I guess I'm just not that important to you. You're an amazing person, and I want us to be happy together. So you might think, yeah, but maybe the partner genuinely feels that way and has a legitimate concern. And this may be true, but these are not healthy ways to express concerns. And in the case of a covert narcissist, what is usually happening is that the person they are with is setting up some boundaries for themselves, and they're no longer allowing themselves to be taken advantage of. And the covert narcissist doesn't like this. If a relationship with a narcissist ends, there are many ways they may try to lure you back. They may fake a crisis to pull on your heartstrings. For example, they may send you a text saying, I know we're not together anymore, but I don't have anyone else to talk to right now. My landlord is threatening to evict me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't pay the rent. It's so stressful. I'm not looking for money or anything. I just need someone to talk to. Maybe they say they're being tested for cancer or some other serious illness and they don't know where else to turn. Or maybe they just need some quick advice. The reality is that the narcissist will often come to you with what appears to be valid concerns, and they won't be asking for much from you at first. Their goal isn't necessarily to get anything from you in that exact moment. All they need is for you to leave a crack in the door, and this opening will be their way to strategically re-engage you. So if you respond to their texts, they will slowly but surely sneak their way back into your life and start the cycle of manipulation and abuse all over again. Other ways they may strategically re-engage you is by randomly sending you a "hey" or "how are you" text. Sometimes they will try to create some type of intrigue, something like, "Did you hear about so-and-so?" Other times it's an apology or an "I miss you" text. If you respond, they may use every tactic in the book to get you to re-engage. However, once you do, you will find that they either lose interest in you very quickly or that the cycle of manipulation and abuse starts all over again. They really just wanted to make sure that they could still get you back if they wanted to. Their way of seeing this is that you don't get to reject and abandon them or decide when it's over. The only way to avoid their manipulations and mind games is to go no contact and to stay no contact. And sometimes, even then, they may find ways to reach you through mutual friends or family by showing up to places you go, randomly bumping into you, by emailing you. That's another big one. Saying things like, "I just don't get it. Can't we just talk like two mature adults? It doesn't have to be this way. You're so full of anger." And if you don't re-engage, they may text you saying, "I can't believe how immature you are. You need to leave me alone." Or in worst case scenarios, they may become vengeful and try to harm you in other ways, such as making false claims against you. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content. And to learn more about gaslighting, click on the link above.